Hello viewers, welcome to the part 4 of differential amplifiers. In this part we will study about the constant current bias circuit that we will be using in the differential circuit to make the emitter current constant irrespective of any changes in it. So let's start with the video. So first of all, what is the constant current bias? Means what do you mean by constant current bias and why it is introduced in the differential amplifier circuit? So this circuit is introduced in the emitter path of the differential amplifier, and it is, as the name suggests, it is helpful in getting the constant current stabilization, and it provides the stable operating point in turn. Means if there is any change in the characteristics of the transistors Q1 and Q2 that are being used in the differential amplifier, in turn the operating point should not change. So this constant current bias circuit takes care of that. So in the, as you must be remember that in the emitter circuit we were using a common resistor RE, and the now that RE initially RE and VE supply, DC supply, was responsible for providing the emitter current. Now the changes that have been made to make the constant current in the emitter circuit is as follows. Earlier, as you can see, this left hand side diagram is the dual input balanced output differential amplifier, as you can see. So this is dual input balanced output circuit, right? So as you can see here, this is the RE circuit. In the emitter path, as you can see, this RE is being used, which was the parallel combination of RE and RE1 and RE2, and along with this DC supply minus VEE. And now we are making changes to this path to make the current constant in the emitter path. So this is your constant current bias circuit. As you can see, now we have introduced resistors R1, R2 and transistor Q3 in with resistor RE and DC current, DC supply minus VEE. Now this R1 and R2 are making a voltage divider circuit, and this transistor Q3 is called as a constant current transistor that is being provided, right? Now the emitter current is supplied by the or established by the RE, R1, R2 and Q3. So let us see the analysis of this constant current bias differential amplifier circuit now. So this is the circuit analysis. As you can see, if we, as we are analyzing only the constant current bias circuit, so taking this circuit, applying the voltage divider rule here, we can say that VB3, at this point VB3 is the voltage resulting at the midpoint of R1 and R2, and it is will be given by the voltage divider rule, and that is equal to R2 upon R1 plus R2 into this DC supply. So if we draw this circuit, it will be like this. This is minus VEE, and this is R1 connected to minus VEE. This is R2, R2 another end is grounded, and here it is VB3 we are writing, and this is connected to transistor Q3, collector is there, and this is going towards, this is IC3 coming from the emitters of the differential transistors, differential amplifier transistor, and this Q3 emitter is one end is connected to, sorry, positive end is connected to RE, and RE another end is connected to this VEE. So when we are talking about this voltage VB3, so it is given by the voltage across this R2, and so it is written as this. So it is written as R2 upon R1 plus R2 into minus VEE. And this VE3 is the voltage at the emitter of Q3. And it is given by this VB3 minus VBE3. This is VBE3, right? So this voltage minus this voltage will give you VE3. So it is given by putting the value of VB3 in this here. So it is equal to R2 upon minus R1 plus R2 into VEE minus VBE3, right? Now IE3 is approximately equal to IC3 because it is flowing through like this. IC3 is this. So IC3 is the collector current of transistor Q3, which is the sum of IE1 and IE2, we can say. So IC3 is equal to VE3, coming to this part, this IE3 is equal to VE3. This is voltage at this point, VE3 minus this minus VEE divided by this resistance RE. This is written here like this. So it is VE3 minus VEE divided by RE. So IE, as we have seen, said that it is equal to IC3. So it is equal to VE3, putting the value of VE3 here, what we get, VEE into minus, sorry, VE3 is equal to VEE minus, because it is plus here, right? So we are taking this VEE here, minus, putting the value of VE3 here, it is equal to R2 upon R1 plus R2 into VEE, minus sign is there, minus VB3. Clear? Because what we are doing, we are putting the we are just putting the values. So it is minus VB3. So this is equal to VEE. Solving this, either we can solve it or we can keep it as it is. Otherwise it is R2 into VEE upon R1 plus R2 upon RE minus VB3. Just we have solved, we have opened this bracket with this VEE, right? So next is, as now IC3 is given by this equation, or we can say this equation, right? So now this IC3, as we can see, it is the sum of this IE1 and IE2. So as both half of the differential amplifier are symmetrical, we know Q1 and Q2 are exactly symmetrical to each other. So therefore each part of transistors will be having equal current in their emitter path. So what we can write, IE1 equal to IE2 is approximately IE3 divided by 2. So halving this current. So this is equal to VE minus R2 upon R1 plus R2 into VE minus VB3 divided by 2RE. Clear? So our IE current and IE2 is approximately equal to IC3 by 2, which is equal to this, as I have already told you. Now this current can increase when it is coming from it is flowing in the path of Q1 and Q2. So this constant current bias circuit, as we can see, we are not supplying any voltage at the base of transistor Q3 or at the emitter of transistor Q3. So it is not posing any, or it is not responsible for contribution to this IC3 current or IE1 or IE2 current. So this is the one case that it is not providing, it is providing current stabilization. How? That is we are going to see in the further slide. So as I have already told you, in the Q3, transistor is called as constant current transistor, and it is connected to these R2, R1 and RE like this. This is the emitter, this is RE, and it is connected to this is VEE minus VEE, and this end is connected to R1, this is connected to the base, this is R2, it is grounded here, and this is collector path is connected to the this IC3. So this further circuit is there. So this circuit, if there is any changes occurring in the transistors Q1 and Q2, and as a result there is increase in this IC3 current, what will happen? This current will increase. As a result, this IE3 will increase. So the voltage drop across this RE will increase. The voltage drop in the RE resistor will increase. As a result, this voltage drop will also increase. So the voltage at this point will decrease. So what we can say, VB3 will decrease. As a result, the conduction of Q3 will decrease. That in turn will further decrease the IE3 current, and that will further regulate the IC3. So the change which has occurred in the IC3 is now compensated because of this transistor. Right? I am again telling, with the increase in IC3, IE3 increases. As a result, voltage drop across IE3 into R3 will increase. The voltage drop across R1 will increase. As a result, VB3 will decrease. So the conduction of Q3 will decrease. That further decreases the ammeter current of Q3, which further stabilizes the IC3 to the normal level. Yeah. So this is the analysis, or this is the circuit which is further stabilizing this current, which is the IC3, and it is due to the sum of these two currents. So the any change occurring due to Q1 and Q2 is compensated by this circuit. That's why it is called as constant current bias circuit. Now this whole is a differential amplifier circuit with the extra feature of constant current stabilization, right? So the all the analysis which we had done in the part 1 to part 3 for the differential amplifier, these are hold or valid for this circuit also. Why? Because this circuit provides very high source resistance again, since the AC, for the AC equivalent circuit, this is open, so it provides a very high resistance for in the AC analysis. So all the analysis which we had done in those parts holds applicable to this circuit also, right? Now let us understand, if there is any variation in transistor Q3 due to the thermal instability, means if there is any heat changes there, the transistor Q3 is heated, then what will happen? The VBE3 of transistor Q3 decreases, right? As a result, well, what will happen? This IE3 current will increase, or we can say that VE3 will increase. As a result, the voltage drop across RE will increase. Now, the effect of heat or temperature on these two diodes is similar to the transistor Q3. So, the drop across D1 and D2, D1 and D2 will also decrease, because this is also lower down VB3, so drop across D1 and D2 also decreases. As a result, now as you can see, this I2 current is divided into ID and IB3. So if it is dropped down, so ID current will increase. As a result, I2 is fixed, so as a result IB3 will decrease. So with the decrease of IV3, the IE3 will also decrease. So with its decrease, the the of increase in compensation of increase in IE3 will be there. So this way these two diodes which are replaced for R1 are compensating any temperature, uh, compensating against the any variations in the transistor Q2 Q3 parameters. As a result, I3, there is effect on I3 or IC3, that is compensated by these two diodes. Seeing the analysis of this circuit, as you can see now, this taking to this equations, VB3, this VB3 is equal to, taking from this circuit, it is minus VEE plus VD plus 2 VD. This is VD across this and VD across this. So it is minus VE plus twice of VD is equal to VB3. And similarly VE3, which will be here, this is VE3. So this VE3 is equal to VB3 minus this VBE3. This we have already studied. So putting the value of VB3 from here in this equation, it is minus VE plus 2VD minus VBE3, and IE, what is IE3? Taking this path, IE3 is equal to this VE3 minus VEE divided by RE. So putting the value of VE3, which is equal to 2VD minus VEE minus VB3 plus, this is minus minus plus VE upon RE. So solving this, we will get 2VD minus VBE3 upon RE, and it is approximately equal to VD upon RE if we are taking that VB3 is equal to VD. So this is the assumption we are making, that it is equal to or approximately equal to VD. So one VD is cancelled out with VBE3 and we are left with that IE3 is now equal to VD, that is voltage across those diodes, divided by the emitter resistance. So the analysis from this equation is that IE3 is equal to, as we have seen, that it is 2VD minus VB3 upon RE, and this is this. So if this equation shows that the emitter current depends upon the voltage drop across the diodes for a fixed value of RE, and right, but as VD is according to the current flowing through it. So the amount of current flowing through the diode is the VD also directly proportional to that. So also the diode current is a part of I2, which is determined by the resistor R2, as we have seen that I2 is equal to ID plus, what was that, IE IV3. So if ID is changing, I2 is fixed, so the amount of this I2 also is responsible for these two currents. So and this I2 current is determined by this resistor R2. So it is concluded that IE3 can be controlled either by R2 or RE. Clear? So up till now we have studied that if there is any variations in those transistors Q1 and Q2 that are in the differential amplifier stage, then also this constant current bias is there to compensate for the increase in the emitter or the collector current, right? But if the constant current bias transistor Q3 itself is having any thermal stability or any variations due to the temperature increase, that is also taken care by replacing the resistance R1 by the two diodes V1 and V2. Similarly, those two diodes V1 and V2 can be replaced by a single Zener diode, but the functioning of those with this circuit is similar to the already studied circuit, right? Now for the overall design of the constant current bias, these are these simple steps. I am just covering it. First of all, we have to choose that in the circuit, what is the required value of IE3 that is required for the circuit. First we have to choose that value. Then by using the equation, because all the equations now we have derived and analyzed, so this IE3 we know that VD upon RE. So assuming VD equal to 0.7 volt. What is VD? VD is the voltage drop across a single diode. So we can find the value of RE by taking VD equal to 0.7. Similarly, determining the value of R2 from this equation, VEE minus, this is twice of VD upon IE3. So taking this, we can find out the value of R2, because IE3 we have calculated in this step 2. So voltage VB3, which is coming at the base of transistor Q through, that is equal to minus VE plus VZ, that is the breakdown voltage of the Zener diode. Fifth step is calculate the voltage at the emitter VE3. Emitter terminal voltage of transistor Q3 is given by minus VE plus VZ minus VBE3. Then calculate the current, exact current IE3 by these values, VE3 minus VE divided by RE. Now substituting VE3 in equation, IE3 equation, right? So it is equal to IE3 minus VZ minus VB3 divided by RE. And then putting IE3 in equation to get R2. R2 is equal to VEE minus VZ divided by I2. Now I2 is approximately equal to 1.2 into IZT, where IZT is the minimum current that is for this inner diode to make it on in the reverse direction, right? So this is all about the constant current bias circuit in the differential amplifier, and this is the reference I have taken. And thank you. If you have any query, any doubt, you can write in the comment section. Thank you so much.